So is my love affair for the Novablast range finally coming to an end? Well, today we're going to be talking all about it. Today I'm going to share with you guys the Novablast 4 after 100 miles. So a handful of you remember when I took a chance on the Novablast version 1. In a time when the Glide Ride, the Evo Ride and whatever else that racing shoe was released, this thing came out silently and I thought, do you know what? Everyone else is reviewing those ones. I'm going to grab the version 1 and I am so glad I did because that shoe was absolutely incredible. Fast forward to version 4 and I've got to be honest with you, my love for this shoe is slowly dying. I want to share all of that with you today. As always with 100 mile reviews, we're going to be going through the wear and tear, how I've been using it, and of course if I'll continue using it moving forward. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. Let's start with the wear and tear. So the Novablast is built like an absolute tank and that's not changed throughout any of the versions. If we go through the wear and tear now, you'll see this thing is holding up really well. If we go through the upper here, you'll see there are absolutely no snags, no frays, no tears whatsoever. It is still holding strong. Now just for context, I've put 400 miles in version 1, 500 in version 2, and the previous version, version 3, got up to 300 miles. So I don't expect to see absolutely anything on this shoe right now. Midsoles always show a little bit of visible creasing, but to be honest with you, it still feels as bouncy as it did from when I got it out of the box. Again, as you can see here, all looking really good. The downside when it comes to the Novablast is indeed the outsole. In terms of the grip and the way it looks, it's still looking really good. Absolutely no visible wear on the grip whatsoever. The problem when it comes to the Novablast, and something I've found in all the versions really, is the grip is quite poor. I've had it in all the previous 3 versions, and in the previous 3 version, they actually introduced a TR version, a trail version, which ended up having 2mm lugs on the outsole to provide better traction and also to give that road to trail option for a lot of runners. A lot of runners ended up buying that shoe, used it on the pavements and the tarmac, and it ended up giving way better grip than the original version, which is the one that I had. My friend Matt, the Welsh runner, had the TR version, and he swore by that shoe. And this is no different. The weather conditions in the UK right now have been atrocious. It's raining most days. And having used in this shoe most weeks at the moment, I've got to say the grip on this thing hasn't been great. You don't feel confident when you're cornering. Thankfully for me, well, you'll find out shortly how I've been using it, but I've definitely not been putting any speed in the shoe, so I haven't had any near misses. But I have found when I'm out there running on those slick pavements that this thing doesn't give me the best confidence. But in terms of visually and wear on the shoe, it's just holding up really well, as to be expected, as with all previous versions, and this one is continuing that trend. So that then moves us on nicely to how I've been using the shoe, and I have very much reserved this shoe for easy miles, not even moderate miles. So in the beginning when I tested this shoe, I took it out for an easy and a moderate run, which is what I try to do on most daily trainers to see if it's one of those shoes that can go through the gears, that has got a little bit extra, or is something that just feels a bit flat when you try and pick up the pace and is solely reserved for that good cushion and those good easy recovery days. This isn't one that I could ever feel like I could pick up the pace, and this is the first Novablast that I actually felt like that in. Even version 2, which I very much reserved for daily usage in terms of easier days, I still felt I could pick up the pace if I needed to. This one, I just am really struggling with it. And I wonder if that's purely mental, because I've got so many other shoes that do that job better. Whereas back then when I was testing those shoes, options were limited, so I didn't find that I had an issue. I don't know, but I just don't enjoy picking up the pace in this shoe. So pretty much since that first original testing, I think I might have done one more moderate run in the shoe, and the rest of it to get it all the way to 100 miles has been easy running. Now bearing in mind a lot of my easy runs are anywhere between 5 to 8 miles, so I've put a fair few runs in this shoe to get it up to this point. So that then begs the question, will I continue to use this shoe moving forwards? And the general answer is no, I don't think I will. I think I'm going to be parking this one at 100 miles. It was money well spent because I love testing the Novablast lineup, and I owe a lot to this channel's growth, if I'm completely honest with you, around the Novablast. It has produced some very big videos, and it's been a shoe that I have adored and loved and has won Shoe of the Year in version 1 and 2. But I've got to be honest with you, as I said in the intro, my love affair for this thing is dwindling, and I've got to be honest, the last few runs in this thing have been a real slog to get it to 100 miles. Yes, I appreciate 100 miles is a bit of an arbitrary number. I could have just dropped a review out saying I'm stopping running in it and being a bit more dramatic about it. I didn't want to. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't enjoyed the last few runs in this shoe. There are a couple of reasons for that, I think. Number one, I'm not really a max cushion kind of guy. I'm not a fan of the whole range of max cushion shoes. I just don't like them. I don't feel I need 40 plus mil of stack in the heel to go out plodding with. I feel there's better options out there with less stack that do the same job. I feel a little bit unstable in this shoe, and the one thing that I've really noticed is my cadence massively drops when I'm running in this shoe. I mean massively. So as a taller runner, 6'6", and I have a long stride, often my cadence can be anywhere between 161 to 164 steps a minute. This thing hasn't been, or it's not been uncommon for me to drop into the 150s when I'm running in this shoe. I really struggle to get that choppy stride, and when I struggle to do that, I then find that if that becomes a pattern, I struggle in my faster runs, and I'm trying to promote that quicker cadence. It's something that I've been working on, and this shoe just doesn't help that. And the second thing is I just don't really enjoy how lifeless I feel this midsole is. Now that sounds a bit weird because this shoe is very soft and very bouncy, and it hasn't changed too much from the previous version, but I have just found that when I try and pick up the pace, it just doesn't do me any favors. And even I've tried striding out in this shoe at the end of an easy run, and it just, these type of shoes just don't work. Now, I'm not anti 40+ mm stack shoes. I would love those sorts of shoes like a Prime X and the New Balance SC Trainer version 2 and all the other ones to go fast in. I get it. I understand the concept that more foam, quicker recovery helps you go fast. That's great. But when it comes to an easy day shoe, I just don't feel I need it. Max cushion, as I said, it's not my cup of tea. I know there's so many of you out there who enjoy max cushion shoes, and there's so many of you out there that really appreciate them and what they do. I do as well, but it's just not for me. There's just other shoes I would rather run in. So I feel like because it feels a little bit lifeless, a little bit cumbersome, a little bit heavy, I just am not a massive fan of it. And it's really sad for me to say because I've loved version 1, 2 and 3, and I'm really keen to see what they do in future versions because I will continue to try the Novablast lineup. I'd love to see what their plans are for version 5. All I can hope for is they reduce the weight again like version 3, because 3 was a little bit revolutionary from 1 and 2. There's some good changes there. Definitely changed the way I use the shoe, but it was so light that it just could go through the gears so much better. This thing I just felt like completely reverted back to version 2, but even worse in my opinion. So to be honest with you, I've got plenty of other shoes which I want to talk about now that I would rather use over this thing. So the other two are at home, but this is one of them, the On Cloud Eclipse. This was a beauty of a shoe that I haven't put that many miles in, and I really want to pick this one back up and get some more easy miles in it. For me, definitely I feel now as a runner, I'm preferring the firmer midsoles over the softer ones. I do still enjoy softer midsoles, but what I'm finding is I'm finding lower stack softer midsoles work for me. Too higher stack on the softer midsoles, my ankles just don't like it. So this one in particular, slightly firmer, big stack, but slightly firmer, not as big as the Novablast. But yeah, love this shoe, comfort. And I think what On do really well as a brand in general is they just fine tune those small details, and it makes a shoe so much better. So I just love what they've done with this one. The other two shoes, as I said at home, the Guide 17. That's an absolute beauty as well. Really surprised by that. Put my review of that out recently and really shocked at the updates of it. It makes me want to run in it. I've really enjoyed it. Very similar weight to the Novablast, but I'll be honest with you, first run in that thing was actually more enjoyable than the Novablast. The Ride 17, I've still got more miles to get in that one. Again, heavier than the Novablast, but more enjoyable. One that I can pick up the pace, and that's all thanks to the Power Run Plus midsole foam. And then the other one, the Puma Velocity Nitro 3, that is on the softer end of the spectrum, but lower stack, so it just works for me a lot better, and that's a much more enjoyable ride. A Pegasus silhouette type of shoe, but better than the Pegasus. Again, would love to see a revamp on that shoe, but I love the Velocity Nitro 3. So some shoes there that I would just rather be putting the miles in now as opposed to the Novablast version 4. So there we go, those are my thoughts on the Novablast version 4 after 100 miles. A little bit gutted, I won't lie, but I've got to be honest with you guys, it just isn't working for me. I could say that old thing, it's not you, it's me, but honestly, it is you. It is the shoe, and this will now be relegated into the shoe pile that is sat right next to me, and I will not be taking it home, and I'll be starting to put some more miles into the other shoes that deserve it. So there we go. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Novablast version 4. I'd love to hear how many miles you've got in the shoe so far. A lot of you have probably got more miles in it than me, so let me know how it's holding up after a bigger distance. This will probably be the last update on this particular shoe that you'll see. So if you've got some bigger miles logged, do let other people know how you're getting on with it down in the comments below, and share your thoughts too. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you on the next one. Until then.